Good Saturday morning to you. I may not get to this today, but I want to be able to figure this out in the back of my head, at least come up with some plan for how I'm going to implement all of this. So it occurs to me what I need to do is measure everything out, and then I can draw up a plan. So basically what I'm going to do is just step everything off, and then I'm just going to assume that the curve of a wall here is a full 90 from that corner all the way up to where it ends on the side of the bed up at that post there. So hopefully that will be enough for me to kind of figure out what I'm doing. I've been looking at the sprinkler heads, figuring 4 or 5 feet radius, something like that. I need to double check all of that, but that's kind of the plan. So let me step this off and then we can make up a plan. Okay, it's a little bit later. I have drawn up a really basic diagram from the measurements I took, but there's a bunch of little other things to do. So let's just get cranking on those. Tonight I will spend some time figuring out where exactly I might lay out all the different sprinkler heads based on those measurements and the coverage of the sprinkler heads and all of that, and we'll come back to that. But yeah, I'll take care of that. Let's take care of the small stuff. First up, I've added some shredded paper to the second compost bin, and yeah, let's go start that up. Yeah, I'll admit that takes a little bit more muscle than a lot of the systems out there, but if you got a spare bin. Next up, a little haircut. It's good enough for now. I'll get out the hedge trimmers in a few days when I do the front lawn right before all the relatives arrive. But that doesn't stop me from my weekend version of going through everything, figuring out what new plants I have, what new fruits I have, and harvesting what needs to get harvested. So here we go. Oops, I guess my framing is off a little bit because there were a couple of cucumbers. One of them looks like it's been sitting there for quite a while, hiding. Now this was a little extreme. Let's go mobile here. I can do it without banging you around too much. It was a little extreme how much I actually cut out of there. There's still a little bit I could cut out, but I mean, if you look down in the pickling cucumbers, that doesn't look like much, but you know what? There's a couple of vines coming up and surviving up here and actually doing fairly well. So I'm hoping it'll kind of bounce back after all I cut off. The straight 8 cucumbers, there's still some down there and probably still some more I could pull out. But again, it looks like when it gets up above the cage, it's doing better. So maybe the cages were a mistake. There's one cucumber still there. I might let that go for another couple days before I pick it. Speaking of that, you probably saw I pulled a couple of patty pans off. There was one hanging way in the back there. I pulled the 2 ears of corn off of that one stalk. This is actually a different stalk that was in front of it that you couldn't really see because it was just being dwarfed. The 2 ears I pulled off, looks like one of them is viable. So that's unfortunate, but I got that, and while I was back there, I also found that the cantaloupe did not survive. It basically died on the vine, but I'll say when I tossed it down, while I was tossing everything else down, it made a really nice smell when it hit. So, what else? There's some gourd back there. I don't know if that's going to be a spaghetti squash. Let me actually re-angle you here a little bit. I don't know if that's going to be a spaghetti squash, but it kind of looks like it. We got 2 others that are down here. They're starting to look like they're ripening up. This is a much paler green, and the one that's kind of hiding back there, I don't know if you can see it, if I can get it in frame or not, but that one's starting to go yellow. And then there's another one. Let's see if I can see it through. Where did it go? I've lost track of it. You gotta trust me, it's back there somewhere. So there's 2 that are kind of turning yellow. There is now another one up on the hill. Hopefully you can see kind of right in the middle of the picture there. So that's a total of 4, if those are indeed all spaghetti squash. There are plants climbing up the hill, just using the ice plant as a structure, which is kind of interesting. I've got a corn right in the middle of the picture there that's got a tuft, but I'm going to wait for that to go a little bit more brown. There's some brown up there. I'll have to investigate before too long. And then ultimately, oh yeah, when I pulled the corn out, I pretty much got attacked by a bunch of ants that were climbing all over the plant. Wow. What is this? One of the plants grabbed onto my tripod while I was doing this. That or I'm just uncoordinated. Yeah, so this is rather extreme, but it tells me that I need to come up here basically once a week and go through, because there was a lot of mildew. In fact, you can see there's, I get it right in the middle of the picture there. There's one with still a bunch of mildew on it. I tried to leave a few leaves behind so the plant could regenerate. If I take off every last leaf with any sign of mildew, you can see there's still some of them there. If I do that, I'm basically killing the plant. Ooh, just noticed something interesting. Oh, okay, that's another patty pan. All right, I thought I had another 8-ball. More patty pan. It's a little hard to show you, but yeah, this has been, it's a little heartbreaking to cut so much of it out after so much success. But you know what? If I want to keep them alive, I'm going to have to get rid of the cancer. So that's that. I still need to go in the back and weed around the tomatoes and peppers, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, it is now Sunday, and we were rudely interrupted. I actually ran the battery down this time, and after running the battery down, the camera, when I recharged my phone, the camera app didn't want to work. It kept crashing on me repeatedly. I think I finally got this straightened out, but in the meantime, I'd set myself up with a backup camera, my old camera, so hi. So if that hadn't worked, that's what I was going to use, but I think we got it back up and running. I had to keep going, even though the camera wasn't working, so I managed to pull the weeds out of this bed here. I actually need to get some water in here. We're going back and forth on watering schedule with the project out front. We got a couple of tomatoes that are starting to ripen. There's one back in there. Hopefully you can see. I'm trying to get the leaves out of the way. Of course, I don't know where the lens is. There we go. So that, and then clear on the other end of the yard, I started working over there. So I'm going to pick up with the time lapse over there, knowing that part of it's already been done. Okay, so we're still up and running. I've done a little bit more trimming than you can see. I got to the, so that sort of pine, tree, bush, whatever. It's got a really weird trunk. But I've opened up a lot of stuff and now it's time for cleanup. Alright, I think that's enough for today. There's still some stuff to do inside. I gotta put tools away, but overall, I think this looks better than before. And to be fair, before I do my Sunday update, weekly update, Mom did some work. That's her portion, and she did a really nice job. So that's it for today. Let's see what tomorrow brings.